All right, so we are live. Make sure that my voice is working. And it is. Yep. Okay. Welcome to Drtredtv.com. My name is Dr. Tred Rissacker, and I'm a doctor of chiropractic. And I am the owner and the client and the doctor at my Slim Body Laser Spa located here in Stewart. And I'll be this is streaming on Facebook Live. It's on YouTube, and it's on my laser-assisted weight loss private Facebook. So enjoy. Now, I'm going to go over some topics today I think are really important. Number one is we're having a fundraiser that's coming up this September. On September 25th to October 7th, it is called a Melt Away Stubborn Fat in Exchange for Canned Food Drive. So we are willing to melt away your stubborn fat in exchange for 5 cans of food, right? It's a food donation. It's a food drive. And it's become really, really obvious to me that we're having some problems in our area with food and with income and all this inflation running crazy, and people's, there's a lot of uncertainty. And one of the things that happens is food becomes, a panic point. If you run out of food, that's a problem. And for everybody, that could happen to anybody. And I was down in Jensen Beach, beautiful Jensen Beach here in South Florida. It was a Saturday morning, and I was going down to see if they had the green market. They were having a green market there. When I got to Jensen Beach in the downtown area, there was a line of about 50, maybe 75 cars surrounding the downtown area, and they were all lined up to stop it. There's a little small church there, excuse me, and they were giving away food. They had a setup where you would check in, and then you would get a ticket, and then you'd get on the line. And then as you drive through, there was people there giving you a box of food. Now, I don't know exactly what was in the box, but I mean, I saw all types of cars, people, that were there getting the food donation. This has been going on for weeks and weeks and weeks. I just only saw it a couple of weeks ago, Saturday, but I was there. I drove past last week and I saw it again. So I decided to go in a little bit and look and see what exactly is going on with this food insecurity and what's happening. Now, I have a little statistics. I went online, and there was a group called Feed the USA. And according to the USDA, this is right now, I just Googled this, more than 34 million people, including 9 million children in our United States, are food insecure. That's just a nice name for saying they don't have enough food. Food insecure. Well, I mean, what does that mean? That's just it's a liberal talking point, but they're hungry and there's famine, and it's a problem. For them to say 34 million people, that's quite a large number of our country. We have 330 million people, I believe, last count, somewhere around that. So 30 million of 300 million is quite a few that are struggling and worrying about food. And that produces stress, it produces fear, it produces, all kinds of other problems that go along with it. They say that the pandemic has increased the food insecurity among families with children and communities of color who already faced hunger at much higher rates than before the pandemic. Every community in the country is home to families who face hunger, but rural, communities outside of the cities are especially hard hit by hunger. Many households that experience food insecurity do not qualify for federal nutrition programs and visit their local food banks and other food programs for extra support. I want to emphasize that. Many households, especially here in South Florida, where everybody seems to be moving right now because, it's a nice place to live, they don't qualify. Most of them do not qualify for food nutrition programs. and they rely on local food banks and other food programs for extra support. Hunger in African American, Latino, and Native American communities is higher because of systemic racial injustice. To achieve a hunger-free America, we must address the root causes of hunger and structural and systemic inequities. Now, I don't know quite how I have an opinion on if there's systemic racial injustice to those communities, but regardless, they're hungry, and we got to do something to help them and to help ourselves. When I was at the watching everybody come through the food bank line, it was a whole host of people that were not African American or Latino or Native American, people just like you and me struggling for food. So I said, something's got to be done about it, So I looked at it and I asked some friends and I got some information about just what's happening here in the Treasure Coast. I want the charity that I put in to help the people and my families and friends immediately first. So here's what it said about it. Food insecurity is a pressing issue in the Treasure Coast area of Florida, affecting individuals and families in Martin, St. Lucie, and Indian River counties. The factors contributing to food insecurity in this region are similar to those in other parts of South Florida. Number one, there's income disparities. Okay, these are the reasons why we're feeling food insecurity right now. Income disparities. The Treasure Coast area experiences income disparities, with many residents earning low wages that make it difficult to afford nutritious food. Number two, the cost of living. In South Florida, we have a relatively high cost of living in this region, including housing costs. This can leave limited resources for food purchases. So it just costs more to live. And thus, food, becomes more costly. Number three, unemployment and underemployment in the Treasure Coast area. Job loss or underemployment is a common challenge in the Treasure Coast area, leading to financial instability and food insecurity. Number four, instability in housing. Now, this I'm seeing a lot of. I grew up here in South Florida since 1972, and man, has it changed. The things that we held dear to ourselves here in South Florida, the friends, the family, the activities, the things that we like to do are changing drastically fast. And some of that old town charm is being basically priced out. If you can't afford the house, you're going to move an area where it's affordable to live. And just because you've been here for many, many years doesn't mean that you can afford it. And that's what I see happening a lot of. I'm not going to get specific about it. I know that I had a house in Palm Lake Park, and I guess it was 10 years ago. I paid $150,000 for it, owner financed, wonderful family, and I sold it to a young guy and a family because I was moving into another area for the same $150,000 that I paid for it. And I saw some real estate comparatives come through the other day, last week. One of the houses in Palm Lake Park was going for $550,000. Now, I paid $150,000 only 10 years ago. Now, it is a nicer house, but not that much nicer. $500,000. Well, this is really affecting our area, and it's forcing people, to either hold on to their house or to sell it and move on. And this is also affecting the food insecurity. It's housing instability, includes homelessness and unstable living conditions, and this can disrupt access to regular meals. If you don't have a home, it's hard to cook. To address food insecurity in the Treasure Coast area, localized efforts and initiatives are crucial, starting with supporting local food banks. And that's what we're doing. We're having donate 5 cans of food in exchange for melting fat at our laser spa. Now, it's a consultation, it's an exam. It's a nutritional recommendations. It's also a body fat analysis. And if you qualify, you can also receive a complimentary laser lipo session. Now, this is going to be going on from September 25th, which is Monday, right up to October 7th, which is a Saturday. Anyone that comes in and donates 5 cans also is eligible for one raffle to win a whole body vibration plate. Now, a vibration plate costs $1,200. I have my own brand, Drtredtv Body Vibe. I have several of them still in storage. And I said, you know what? Let's make it desirable for people to want to come in. So 5 cans, you come in, you give us your name, your information, your email, become a member, just so we can communicate with you. And we will put you as an entry to win one of those vibration plates. By the way, there's 3 being drawn. Your odds are great. I did that on purpose. So that's one of the things that we're doing to support the local food banks, because we're going to donate. Our goal is to get 400 pounds of canned food before October 7th. Okay. And, or more. All right. So some of the organizations you can support are one called the Treasure Coast Food Bank, and they play a vital role in providing food assistance to the community. Donating to or volunteering with these organizations directly benefits residents in need. Same with that church down in Jensen Beach. It's a little small church, but boy, they're feeding a lot of people from what I saw. In order to help with food insecurity in the Treasure Coast, you need to advocate for a policy change. We need a policy change. Advocate for local policies that address food insecurity issues are specific to the Treasure Coast regions and its residents. Supporting community gardens. This is number 3. A community garden. Now, I see a few of them around. I see one on the road, Savannah Road, cut off through Jensen Beach Boulevard, make a right by the railroad tracks, and there is a community garden there. I also see a community garden in Port St. Lucie, right by the Civic Center. They have a nice community garden. I know there's one in Stewart by the circle, the traffic circle, not the big fish circle, the smaller one on Colorado, and I think it's Collab, and that is it used to be a community garden, but I think it's more of a garden for their business. But we need more community gardens, okay? This would be so beneficial to help everybody to not be food insecure. Urban farming, to provide locally sourced fresh produce to underserved communities. Number 4, nutrition education. Without educating a person what real food is, they end up spending their money and their hard-earned effort into fake food, into false food, food which has no nutrition. So if you've got $100 to spend for the week, you don't want to spend it on processed food. You want to buy good food that you can prepare and cook, and it has nutrition. Going out and buying, I'm not going to name all the improper processed foods because you know where they are, you know what they are. They're usually fast foods. Most people will spend their $7, $8 on fast food because it's cheap, but it doesn't have the nutritional quality. So a good nutritional education that caters to the unique needs of Treasure Coast residents help them to make healthy food choices on a budget. Number 5, food insecurity comes from financial insecurity, and we need better jobs. So employment opportunities in the Treasure Coast area is really important. Promote job training and employment programs that target the Treasure Coast, offering residents opportunities for economic stability. Number 6, emergency assistance programs. Every now and then we mess up. Maybe we made a mistake, didn't judge the costs involved, made a decision, and you know what? I need help. So having emergency assistance programs is really important. So we suggest strengthening and expanding emergency assistance programs, including SNAP, which is Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, used to be called food stamps, and WIC, Women, Infants, and Children, to save Treasure Coast residents effectively. Another one would be local partnerships. Foster partnerships among local government, nonprofits, business, and community organizations in the Treasure Coast to create a coordinated response to food insecurity. That's what I'm doing at the Slim Body Spa, September 25th, all until October 7th. We're donating some of our services in exchange for canned food, and that canned food will be delivered to a Treasure Coast food bank directly, quickly. You know, by addressing food insecurity through localized efforts and tailored initiatives, we can make the Treasure Coast area less vulnerable to food insecurity and reduce the prevalence, and ensuring that all residents have access to nutritious food. So that is my important thing I'm telling you here today. I want you to know that we have on September 25th through October 7th at the Slim Body Laser Spa located in Stewart. That is on East Ocean Boulevard, right across the street from the Fresh Market at the corner of Monterey and East Ocean and the Carmelis Plaza. We're going to be accepting those canned donations at the spa. For anyone that would like to donate those 5 donations, you can just donate and leave. You don't have to be a member. You don't have to come in and receive any services in exchange. However, if you'd like to find out what we do, get a consult, get an exam, no charge, and even possibly a laser lipo session if you qualify, if you don't have any contraindications, you'll meet with me personally, and you get that one entry for the whole body vibration plate just by donating 5 cans of food or more. All right. And I just hope that you can share this with other people, send it around. Let you see if I can. I'm practicing here. I want to see if I can bring on my, yeah, there we go. I did it. All right. Well, I'm not very good at that yet. I'll hold it up to the camera so you can see it. All right. So anyway, I'll get better at this. So it's a food drive, and please give us a call if you can. All right. The next thing I want to go over is I'm getting a lot of questions from everybody. By the way, you're listening and watching Drtredtv. This is simultaneously being live streamed on Facebook, on my Facebook laser assisted weight loss program. It's also being live streamed on my YouTube channel, Drtredtv. Yes, we are moving ahead with getting more information out. All right. Now, what I do at the laser spa is I have found a process, a procedure, which I believe is the best, most effective way to lose weight, to improve how you look, to kickstart your desire to make a change, to get nutritional information, to get your body fat checked, to actually learn some science-based tools to help you with fat loss. And we do it using an FDA-cleared aesthetic laser device. It's called the Lapex BCS Pro. And what we're doing in a very short statement is we're using technology to reduce stubborn fat in areas that are resistant to diet and exercise that you just can't change with traditional methods. Now, there's a lot of caveats with that. There's no downtime, there's no pain, there's no suffering, but it's different than these procedures that claim to, remove fat. This is not a fat removal procedure. It's a laser which allows your body to open up and to drain. It helps to get rid of the stubborn fat through a series of red light laser treatments. And then as a chiropractor and a doctor of nutrition and wellness, I can counsel with you about food, proteins, carbohydrates, good fats, good carbs, bad carbs, keto diet, intermittent fasting. I know a lot about it all. And what we're doing at the spa is we are using a machine to get results similar to somebody who would want liposuction. Just cut it off, suck it out, burn it, freeze it. I don't like it. I want to get rid of it. That's the way a lot of people feel about certain parts of their body, And I can tell you this, those fat cells that you want to remove, cut out, suck out, burn, whatever it is, are precious. Your body doesn't create junk, and it doesn't create excess tissue because it's trying to hurt you. It is intelligently superior to any decision you might make or think you need. Your body knows what it needs and what it wants to do. And when adipose tissue is holding too many calories, too much fat, and you're not going into any need to burn it or to utilize it, such as, going into a time without food, those calories are accumulating. They're never going away. Okay. Your body doesn't spontaneously remove all of your body fat every 2 years, right? It doesn't. Why? Because it's precious. Those fat calories are precious. Now, we have created in our industrialized world an unlimited amount of food that's always available 24/7, all winter, all spring, all summer, all fall. We get fruits in the winter. We get winter fruits in the summer because of industry. And this has created an incredible overabundance of nutrition, of calories, dense calories. And as a human, we're basically digging our graves with our knives and forks. We are eating too much, too often, not exercising enough, not burning calories. And as a result, we're the fattest we've ever been. I mean, ever in the whole history of the world, humans are as big as they've ever been all around. It used to be when you would go to a country that had no money and they were skinny people. They were all starving. Now, a country that is in poverty has some of the fattest, heaviest people in the world. And the normal amount of walking and exercising and going to work and playing with your friends and taking nice, calm walks is not enough to combat the amount of calories people are eating. And in order to combat the amount of calories we're eating, we need to go into fasting and starving to get rid of them because there's just so many of them. And I'm not suggesting that that's a great idea, but that is how your body was designed. It was not designed to carry more than 10 or 15 pounds of extra fat beyond, a winter. 10,000 years ago, food insecurity. No, we weren't growing any agricultural foods 10,000 years ago for the most part. And what depended on your survival and your family's survival was going into the winter with enough body fat that you could last the winter without eating and then come out and eat again. That is a normal, healthy way that we were designed. And that's why when you have a chance to eat, you can't stop, right? A lot of you can't stop eating until you just explode, or just keep eating and eating and eating until, my God, you can get 600-800 pounds. That's not a freak. You're not a freak show. That's a normal adaptation to somebody who might be going a long time in the future without eating, without any food. And the chance to go in and have enough calories to get through the starvation period is critically important. So there's a caveman desire to overeat when we get a chance to eat. And as much as we know we shouldn't, you see it happening all around. And the other part, which is really important, and you won't like to hear this, is that your body's ability to hold on to that fat and to utilize it in the right amounts is absolutely incredibly effective. In other words, let me give you a story. Do you remember the guy Morgan Spurlock who did that movie Upsize? What is it? Oversize, the one with McDonald's where he ate McDonald's, Supersize. He ate McDonald's for 1 month, and he ate everything just from McDonald's. And he didn't eat the worst possible part of the menu. He mixed it up with salads and some of that, but really, he spent 30 days eating it. I think he put on over 20 pounds in that 4 weeks. He went to the doctor and had his blood sugar checked and his fatty acids checked and his liver checked when he started. And as he went through the process, he was also getting these exams. Now, he's a guy that's probably in his 30s. Him and his wife are vegan chefs. So this was a very unusual diet for him. He wanted to make a point, though. At the end of the 30 days of eating nothing but the McDonald's table fare, his doctor told him that he was at high risk of heart attack, of a stroke, that he'd never seen blood work get so bad so quickly as him, and that he needed to stop whatever he was doing immediately. Now, you can see it. It's on TV. It's on YouTube. It's called Supersize Me, Morgan Spurlock. And then at the end of that, he decided to lose the weight, but do it through eating better and nothing drastic. Okay. Just going back to a normal, healthy, diet with low carbohydrates, more of a keto friendly diet. Do you know it took him 2 years to get rid of the 30 pounds that he put on in 1 month? 2 years. Now, it wasn't a crash diet. This was a normal eating process. So what he put on in 3-4 weeks took him 24 months to get off. Why is that? Because your body is super efficient at holding on to calories once you put them on. If you suppose you're dieting and exercising, and you're really, you're committed to this thing, and you've been going to the gym daily, and you've been eating better, and you say to yourself, I want a cheat day. All right, everybody wants a cheat day, and I had a bagel this morning, and it was 350 calories, and I got some cream cheese on it, which isn't the worst decision, but that brings you up to the 350, 400 calorie amount. Now, remember, that's a carbohydrate. It's not a protein. And it's turned into sugar by your body. It's starch. And then what happens is, for you to burn that bagel off, which is 300 calories approximately, you would have to run vigorously up the bridge and down the bridge for 2 hours to burn 350 calories. I mean it. That's how efficient your body is at utilizing energy and not using fat. It is critically important for humans. I remember reading that in Vietnam, that the Vietnamese soldiers, that they only had rice and fish, and a cooked fish in a bowl that was more of soup. Yet they did all the things they needed to do. They dug the tunnels. They fought the soldiers. We are incredibly efficient at utilizing the fat, at not burning fat when we exercise and do things, which is why exercise is so hard to lose weight. However, without exercise, you will never keep the weight off. You'll never keep the weight off. Give me 1 second. I am just going to cycle through my camera here. All right, and we are back. So that was just to make sure that my camera doesn't shut off at 30 minutes. So we're so good at not burning calories that, this is something that's given us an evolutionary edge. If you want to lose weight, it's easier to eat a little bit less than you normally do versus exercising more. Now, like I said, to keep weight off, got to exercise. And eventually, if your exercise is targeting muscles, like resistance musculature, and then as you build muscle because you're actually doing strength training, eventually those muscles will burn the fat. But that can take 3 to 4 to 6 months to happen, to build the muscles in order to burn fat. And when you just do cardiovascular, without doing any muscle resistance, for the most part, you're not burning any fat, very little fat. You got to go at least an hour of cardio before you start tapping into any kind of fat reserve. And that's because body fat is, the body, not body fat, the body utilizes when a muscle is contracting and relaxing and it's begins to, like, you're running, the energy that supports that comes from the body's glycogen stores. It comes from the stored glucose in your bloodstream, in your liver, and in your muscles. It's called glycogen. So muscles need glycogen for contraction and relaxation. Fat is not the first source that muscles use. So if all you're doing is exercising, but not doing it regular enough, all you're really doing is burning muscle and glycogen. And since you haven't been steady at it for long enough, you're not really burning any fat. And some people doing cardio, especially when you're older, they can become skinny, but their body fat increases. It's called skinny but fat. And you don't want that. Okay? It's, and that brings me to another fact. Okay, now this is absolutely the truth. Your weight, as far as the scale counts, is important, but it is not factual when it comes to, did you burn fat or not? If your goal and my goal as humans should be to lessen body fat if it's too much and increase muscle tone. In other words, you don't want to lose fat and not increase muscle. And you don't want to increase fat without and decrease muscle. That's not cool. Your body's lean muscle mass should be about 20% of your weight. And the rest of it is considered lean muscle, but it's not all muscle. Of course, there's water and bone and other things. However, the ratio of 20% body fat equals about 40 to 50% of muscle tone. And that is a healthy number that allows you to be able to store energy, to balance your hormones. Reasons are absorbed in the muscles. It also helps you look better. It also allows you to protect your skeletal frame if you fall. Muscle tone protects your bones. If you get weak and you fall, that's how you break a hip. Not when you're strong and young. It's not the youth, it's this muscle strength. So muscular strength means everything when it comes to being healthy and living a long time. And as we get older, muscle starts to degrade through the aging process. The muscle tone goes down after 50 years old due to hormonal changes in aging. Humans lose 1% of their muscle tone just because they're getting older every year. So from 50 to 60, if you haven't done anything to stop it, you've lost 10% of your muscle tone. But that didn't mean that you got 10% heavier, that your body got fatter. I mean, that the scale went up. The fact is, the ratio from muscle to fat is starting to change. And instead of being 20% body fat, when you lose 10%, that goes up to maybe 25% body fat, even up to 30% body fat. And 30% is obese. And obese means inflammation. It means biomarkers of illness. It means, spewing out hormones that create swelling. It increases your body's chance at getting metabolic syndrome, which is, a big belly, high blood sugar, triglycerides, high HDL, and a chance of stroke and cardiovascular disease. All this is precipitated by obesity and not exercising and not eating the right foods. And yet your scale might not have changed at all. I'm not kidding. I used to think that weight loss always equated to fat loss. So if I went from 225 and I'm down to 200 pounds, I lost 25 pounds of fat. Well, that's not true. You maybe lost a little bit of fat, but most of it could be just muscle, water, bone, and things that weigh more than body fat does. And so how do I know that? Because we have a machine at the office, which is also part of our canned food drive offer. If you bring in the 5 cans of food, you can come in and get your body fat analysis checked with a high-end machine that we have. It's called a bioimpedance analysis. It's called a BIA 310, and it uses it has a computer database that has a whole bunch of people, demographics of men and women from puberty to 95 years old that have had their body fat and their lean muscle mass and their hydration checked with very expensive equipment, saltwater immersion, caliper measurements, DECA scans. And then what happens is they pass a current through their body. They put an electrode on their foot and one on their hand, and this mild current passes through your body and it measures resistance. So electricity goes faster through water than it does through muscle and fat. So it can tell you how much lean muscle and how hydrated you are based on that resistance number. It compares it to the database and it gives you your numbers. And it takes about 5 minutes to do. And at the end of that test, it will print out target recommendations for you, just like here. Now, I will figure out how to bring on my thing here. Let me see. Hey, there we go. Let me get rid of my picture. Let me get rid of this, make it smaller. There we go. Okay, now you can hear me. Sorry. So what this is showing you, this is showing my name, and this was my own body fat analysis check here. And it's kind of hard to read, but it checks my, I'm getting to read it myself. It's telling me my body fat is 29%. Okay, right there. BMI, normal's 20 to 25. This showing me at 29%. So I'm 1% under being obese. This was done back in May. And it also showed my blood work. It also showed my total body hydration. So this is one of the standards we use at the spa. It's called a body fat check. That's a picture of our beautiful spa. And a picture of one of our clients enjoying it. All right, so let's remove that, go back to me. Now, when I found out I was 34% body fat on my machine, I started using the laser and I started exercising more to make a change. That was not acceptable to me. And I got it down to 29%, which now brought me out of the obesity range. And the last test I did, I was 24%, which puts me within normal weight, 20 to 25. And I can help you do that too. If I did it for myself, I know I can help you with it. It didn't happen overnight, and it didn't happen by taking injections or any kind of crazy medical voodoo medicine to try to get me to trick myself to lose weight. It really needs to be sustainable, and it needs to be natural if it's going to not harm you and really help you to be healthier. I can't stress that enough. So what I've gone over here today, just as a summary, is we have a machine at the office called a body impedance analysis. And that body impedance analysis will measure your body fat, your lean muscle mass, and also your resting caloric intake and your hydration. It is a wonderful tool. And if you give us a call and you say you'd like to be involved in the food drive, you bring in 5 canned food. We will do the BIA at no charge for you. And I'll give you recommendations as to what you can do to make those changes, what I think is necessary. There's no charge for it. We just want to help feed people. And this is my gift to you. At the same time, you can also get entered into the raffle for those whole body vibration plates. And believe me, in the next 6 weeks, if you get 100 people come in, your chances are very good at winning one versus the lotto, right? So that's what we're doing there at the spa. Body fat analysis. All right. I want to go over the top 20 list of the most popular, non-invasive, non-surgical body sculpting procedures that are out there. Okay. There is more than 20. I stopped it at 20. I don't even know if I'll get through the top 10 here. All right. But I want to define what a non-surgical body sculpting procedure is. So when they call something non-invasive or non-surgical and it comes to body sculpting, you're talking about either tightening body fat, tightening skin, shrinking and reducing fat deposits, getting rid of, helping to, slim down a waist, get rid of submental fat under your chin. And all of these procedures, whether they're surgical or non-surgical, only target subcutaneous fat, okay? And the subcutaneous fat is a protective layer which surrounds your body, and it is what you would squeeze, what you could grab with your fingers. So if you go down to your abdomen, you grab your abdomen, and you can squeeze the skin. The fat between that is subcutaneous fat. Your muscle wall, if you make a muscle and you poke, anything behind the muscle is visceral fat. And none of these procedures, none of them can change visceral fat. The only way to change visceral fat is diet, exercise, and diet and exercise. And of course, some of these, these medical weight loss voodoo drugs are changing visceral fat, but the price that people are paying for it is absolutely, it can vary from person to person, but for some people it could be devastating. I mean, death, right? Fen-phen, they took off the market. It was so effective at people losing weight and they were dying, but they didn't know that in the beginning. Took time. I think that's what's going to happen with this other drug that they're injecting right now. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff about it, but we're not going into that. That's weight loss, and that's to lose overall weight. But again, if you haven't lost fat, you haven't really helped yourself. I mean, if you took a drug and it caused your scale, if you caused you to drop 25 pounds in a very short time, and you think that you're successful at improving your health, you need to have your body fat checked. You need to know the percentage. You might have only burned off muscle tone. You could have lost water. You don't know that you burned muscle or fat came off. And, to burn fat, you got to burn 3,500 extra calories. There's no way to magically remove fat. It doesn't come out through your bowels. You don't poop it out or pee it out. It's held within a fat cell. It's protected from getting rid of it. It doesn't want you to get rid of it. And that fat cell is it's like the gold Knox. It's like the Fort Knox with the gold stored. It's impenetrable. You can't get it out unless you got the right key, unless you've got the right attitude, the right reason. And we call that lipolysis. Weight loss processes don't induce lipolysis. No, none of these drugs do that. All right. So now to get back to what's invasive and what's non-invasive, okay, everything is compared to surgery. So when you see these different procedures, cool sculpting, sculpture, ultra shape, vanquish, and on and on and on, they're comparing themselves against a surgical procedure with anesthesia, cutting, removing of tissue. And I'll be honest with you, anything that's not surgical is considered non-invasive compared to that. Now, however, when you compare these processes against each other, not surgery, like against each other, cool sculpting, sculpture, ultra shape, diagnostic, ultrasound, and low-level lasers, what we're using, the least invasive of all of them is what I'm doing, low-level laser, because it doesn't burn anybody. It doesn't use heat. It doesn't use any energy to damage tissue. It creates lipolysis, which means fat removal, because the fat within the cell was drained. The lipolysis means, lysis means a small hole, and it allows the fatty acids to be released into the tissue, and the fat cell is not damaged. It stays intact. And all the other procedures, whether it's heat, cold, ultrasound, radio frequency, cavi lipo, injecting fluid like Cabela, these are all inducing what they call apoptosis, which is cellular death. They're destroying the fatty tissue underneath the skin. They're not, and what happens when you destroy tissue? It's got to be absorbed. It's got to be processed by the lymphatic system, cleared from the tissue, just as if you had been punched in the gut. Okay? I know it's true. If I was to, and I would never do this, if I was to start punching your abdomen, boom, 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 really hard, not enough to break the skin. I'm not trying to break the skin, and I don't want to damage the organs behind it, but I want to break up and bust up the fatty tissue that's right there. When I got done after 20, 30, 40 minutes of that, and I stopped punching you, what's going to happen? What are you going to notice? You're going to see redness. You're going to see some swelling. It's going to swell. It's going to be painful because we damaged it with the energy, with the fists. And then it's going to turn black and blue, right? Because there's bleeding in there. And then over time, the swelling and the black and blue, it should go down. It should heal itself. The body slowly removes the dead tissue from the the hitting. That can take how long? A week, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, 6 months. Everybody's different. And that is, in essence, what these other procedures are doing compared to what we're doing at the Slim Body Laser Spa. And that's really important to understand, that any one of them take weeks to months before you see results. And what can happen with a lot of people is those results can vary based on your age, your gender, your level of fitness, and also your body's ability to heal and repair itself. That's called metabolism. That can be very affected. And that's is why many people, after doing some of these procedures, wish they never did it, because they're left disfigured. They're left with like scalloping looks where it's shallow right there, as if somebody scraped it out like you'd scoop some ice cream off of something. It's left with lumps and bumps and debris from the tissue which was not absorbed, and also something called fat migration. Fat migration is nasty, and it's a problem, and it's something that occurs on anybody who does this process because of the fat migration. So I'm going to show you that. And let's make it smaller. So this is called fat migration. It's after liposuction, the fat just relocates, it does. So this is a girl that, You see, she didn't like her hips. She had the procedure. And then after time, the body tried to reestablish the fat and it went up to her shoulders, not anywhere else other than the shoulders. And that's terrible to have that happen. And that happens to just about anybody who uses procedures to destroy the fatty tissue. Okay, in order to get rid of the tissue by removing it, you run this risk called fat migration. We see it a lot in the spa. People come in and they want help because they have fat migration, and it's just not okay. All right. So that's the difference between the two. My process, lipolysis, and it doesn't damage tissue. However, with that said, you've got to burn the energy as calories. And so our process takes a series of treatments. We start at 9, 3 times a week for 3 weeks. We release 400 to 600 calories of fat from the lipolysis procedure. And those fatty acids compete with your body to be burned as energy. And as long as you haven't eaten in 2 hours before the procedure, and we do the laser, and then you don't eat 2 hours afterwards, your body will pull those fatty acid calories and burn those as energy versus glucose. And thus, after 3 to 4 hours, you've burned off 400 to 500 to 600 calories of fat. That's huge, okay? 1 pound of fat, 3,500 calories. So, if you look at 500 calories, you're talking, 6 days, 7 days. If you burn 500 calories of fat in 7 days in a row, you will have lost 1 pound. Okay, that's the law. It takes 3,500 calories to make a pound of fat. You have to burn and eat less, not eat less, but you have to burn 3,500 calories of that fat. And just eating less doesn't do it because of the way the body works. However, at the Slim Body Laser Spa, because we understand metabolism and when your body needs food, the only thing we ask is that you come in hungry, you haven't eaten lunch, you come in for lunch, and then in the next 2 to 3 hours, you don't eat for another 2 or 3 hours, drink plenty of water, and you will burn off the triglycerides that laser released, not stored fat. Not stored muscle tone. Wow. All right, number 1. Here it goes. Cool sculpting. Boy, I knew that. I want you to know, I've been doing this since before cool sculpting even existed. 2009 was my first laser treatment. 2010, I opened Slim Body Laser Spa. I don't think cool sculpting came around till 2014, 2015. And I can tell you that cool sculpting is the number 1 player in the business right now. A lot of people do it, okay? It doesn't make it okay. It just means they have a big marketing campaign. Cool sculpting was bought by a company called Allergen. Allergen is the company that owns Botox. So think about that. Also, most of your lasers out there are owned by this company called Allergen. They were not stupid. Okay, they bought the right to cool sculpting called the Zeltig back in 2013, 2014, and they promoted it and they got it into the marketplace. And boy, have they done successful with it. But that doesn't mean that people are not hurt by cool sculpting. They are all the time. Most of them settle out of court. It's hard to find it, but it's out there if you want to know. And the main problem with cool sculpting is it doesn't work unless you're thin. If you have a lot of body fat, which most of you do, it's just statistically, cool sculpting is not a great procedure for you because you got to grab the fat, it has to squeeze it together, and then it's got to hold it there for 30 to 40 to 50 minutes, and then it releases, and over 12 to 18 weeks, you absorb the tissue that's been frozen. It actually leaves you it's hard, like my desk, once they turn that off, and then your body has to heal it and absorb it. So it has to be done multiple times. So the description of cool sculpting, it's considered non-invasive, which I do not agree with that. It is invasive. Compared to surgery, it's non-invasive, but compared to low-level laser and the results we're getting, it's a joke. The procedure that freezes and destroys fat cells in target areas by exposing them to controlled cooling. The pros: minimal downtime, no surgery or needles, gradual and natural looking results. Boy, I disagree with that. The con: may require multiple sessions for significant results. You know, so one area, cool sculpting, $600. So, you know, that would be your inner thigh, 600. Your other inner thigh is another 600. So there's 1,200 right there. And then if you want to do your flank, which is your love handle, 600. The other side, 600. So now you're up to 2,400 right there with 4 areas. Now, what happens is after they do that, within 2 months, it needs to be done again. So you got another 2,400 on top of that. So now you're up to 4,800. You haven't even treated the front of your belly, you know, around your waist, around the dewlap, you know, that lip that's hanging down. That's totally different. And, you know, it took 6 months to see any result at all. And they froze it like frostbite. Scary. Number 2, sculpture. Now, sculpture is called laser lipolysis, which is not true. It's laser apoptosis. Lipolysis means the cell's still alive. In lipolysis, you know, in apoptosis, the cell has been destroyed. Now, sculpture uses laser energy to heat and disrupt the fat cells, which are then naturally eliminated by the body. So in its own description, it's saying that it's heating and it's disrupting fat cells, and then they're eliminated by the body. That is not lipolysis, people. Lipo means a fat cell. Lysis means to make a small hole in the membrane. It could be with a needle. It could also be with energy, and then the cell is not damaged. Apoptosis is heat, cold, crushing, injury, which just disrupts the cell membrane. The cell explodes. It dies, and then it's absorbed over time. That's what this is doing. Now, what happens with sculpture is a little different than other processes, because remember, in order to get to the fat, the skin is the barrier for all of these procedures. It's a barrier for my procedure, the low-level laser. So what happens is when you apply energy to get down to the fat, the skin can be burned. So each procedure has a way of protecting the skin. In cool sculpting, it's like a piece of saran wrap. It looks like plastic that they put on the skin first. And then when they clamp it between those cold pieces, which gets 34 degrees, by the way, that's freezing, the skin is protected by that plastic sheet, but it can get burned, and it does sometimes. Sculpture has a different mechanism. They're using a hot laser to bring the tissue temperature up to, I think, 114 to 115 degrees, which is near boiling. And the way they do it is it has like a metal bracket that they put on a person's midsection, and then they clamp the handpiece into this bracket, and there's a piece of glass on it which touches your skin. And as the energy starts to go through the glass and starts to heat up the fat, there's a sensor which tells the machine, hey, the skin is getting too hot. And then it blasts like a nitrogen blast to cool off the skin for that moment. And then the laser shuts down, you know, it slows its energy. And then what it does is it starts to ramp up again. It gets hotter and hotter until you feel maybe it's going to burn, and then it cools off. So it's just cooling, heating, cooling, heating. In order to get a result, it's got to hurt, because that energy's got to go down. Okay. My camera times out every 30 minutes. I will figure it out. So, you know, that's how they try not to burn the skin. And one of the okay, so that would be the sculpture, and it's laser apoptosis, not lipolysis. Just like the cool sculpting is called cryolipolysis. It's not lipolysis, it's apoptosis. It's destroying the tissue. The sculpture, the pro, what they like about it is it's typically 25 minutes, minimal discomfort, no downtime. And the only problem, they say multiple sessions may be needed for optimal results. Lots of sessions. Okay. I would tell you there's some other problems with it. I don't know that much about sculpture. Nobody comes in and tells me about it. So the other one is number 3, and this is called Ultra Shape. Now, Ultra Shape uses ultrasound. Ultrasound has been used for many, many, many years to use sound waves by having like a handheld handpiece that you hold in your hand, and then you would put gel on it, and then you'd move it over the skin, and the ultrasound goes down into the tissue to break up tissue. It's energy, and it can be very strong and hurt you. It could be very weak and have very little effect. Ultrasound, we use it in chiropractic to help remove inflammation, to help relieve muscle spasms and tightness. Well, they're using it in aesthetics to disrupt and explode the fat cells with sound waves. You know, sound can break glass. Remember, you know, Memorex, it breaks glass. Sound can also break apart fat cells and create this apoptosis. Remember this damage, this tissue debris. And so UltraShape employs ultrasound technology to target and destroy fat cells in the abdominal area. They say it's non-invasive, no downtime, reduces fat in targeted areas. Several treatments may be required for noticeable results. So I have a little knowledge about this UltraShape. It is what they're doing at Water's Edge right now. I had a client call me up and said, "Oh, I got this $25,000 estimate on doing some body sculpting, and they were going to do some things to my chin and, you know, some other areas." And she goes, "I was going to do it, but it just seemed really expensive to me, doc." And I said, "Well, come in, let's talk about it." She lived down the road over there at Cedar Point, and she came in and she had the estimate from the dermatology center down in Palm Beach, which is where they do it. And I had a chance to look at it. And the first one she showed me was a brochure for UltraShape. It's this power ultrasound. And I've never seen it. I've never done it. I don't know anybody that's ever done it, by the way, but I do know about ultrasound, and it's minimally effective. I mean, minimal effective, but it is effective. It can change it. So she was required to do 6 to 8 treatments. Now, mind you, she was obese. I mean, big belly, hanging over, you know, obese. Not a great candidate for something like this. And they required 6 to 8 treatments spaced out I think it was every 2 weeks to 4 weeks at $750 a treatment. So her UltraShape power plan was $6,000. And she says, "What do you charge, doctor?" And I said, "Well, our plan is $2,800. It takes 9 sessions in 3 weeks. I'll guarantee an inch loss, guaranteed money back in 3 spots, but most will lose 6 to 9 inches without any downtime at all." I don't think I have to tell you that she chose to do it, but I ended up getting that estimate written down on the brochure. And there were some other things they estimated too, but that was my experience with UltraShape. Now, I've seen the before and after pictures on UltraShape. It is minimally, I mean, if those are the only before and after pictures, I would have been out of business years ago. So that is what ultrasound is doing. It's number 3 as far as the non-invasive choices. By the way, if you just tuned in, cool sculpting was number 1, fat freezing, 6 to 12 weeks to get any, 12 to 18 weeks to see any result. If you're too fat, it's not a good procedure for you. Sculpture uses lasers to heat up the tissue. Chance of burns, not usually, but it's minimally effective. Multiple sessions are needed. And then you have the ultrasafe, which is ultrasound. Number 4, this is a huge one, people. It's called Vanquish. Vanquish uses radio frequency energy, RF they call it. Vanquish uses radio frequency energy to heat and reduce fat cells in a large treatment area without direct contact. It's a non-contact procedure and it covers a broad treatment area. Multiple treatments may be necessary for desired results. All right, now remember, I said there's 2 ways that we can open up fat cells. One is lipolysis, which does not use heat. Tissue doesn't damage. And then you have apoptosis. Vanquish creates apoptosis because it's destroying the fat cells. It's burning them. It's cooking them. It's boiling them under the skin. Now, radio frequency works using radio waves in a handheld. They have a handheld. It doesn't have to touch the skin, because what happens is when you have a radio wave coming from the left side and from the right side, anywhere that they touch creates heat. And what they can do is they can direct that heat down into your tissue by changing the angle of those little probes. But mind you, where those radio waves hit, it burns. So radio frequency does destroy fat, and it can make changes in a homogeneous, equal way, but you've still got that darn immune system. The dead tissue has to be absorbed. You have to have it removed through the lymphatic system. There's a chance of being burned by it, because I always had people tell me that if it doesn't hurt, you're not allowing it to go deep enough. In other words, it's set up so if you don't feel any pain, the chances are you're not really burning the fat very well. And when it gets hot enough where you are feeling pain, it hurts, and people won't allow it. So that's radio frequency. Of all the procedures, it's probably the most common and predictable, but at the same time, you can be hurt. I don't do it yet, but I'm not against it. Of all of them, it's probably the one that, because you can do it where it isn't so invasive. You can do it a little bit at a time. All right, this one here shocks me. Number 5, most common non-invasive, is something called Kybella. Kybella. And this is injectable deoxycholic acid. Now, deoxycholic acid is something that when you put it on your skin, it burns. It will create a hole. It's like, acid. It's muriatic acid. And what they're doing is they're injecting deoxycholic acid into the fat beneath the chin to dissolve the fat cells. So, you get your you get that extra fat that's here, and then they inject that stuff up into your fat, and it targets the double chin, and it's a quick procedure, but multiple sessions may be required, and temporary swelling and discomfort is very possible. Yeah. Compared to what I do, which is the lipo laser, we can hold a paddle under your chin for 10 minutes, do it 3 times to 6 times, and your chin is tight. No downtime, no injury, no pain. Some people say, yeah, but it didn't kill the fat. Well, there's a reason why God gave you fat under your chin. I don't know exactly why, but Kybella it's also I think it's like $5,000 too. It's super expensive. All right. Number 6, TrueSculpt. TrueSculpt. This is RF again, radio frequency, nothing new, same as the Vanquish. And it utilizes radio frequency energy to heat and reduce fat cells while simultaneously tightening the skin. It's customizable treatment, minimal discomfort, but multiple sessions may be needed. All RF, anything that uses radio frequency has the ability to kind of cause your skin to tighten. It's not going to cause skin to tighten on someone with gastric bypass, okay? Big floppy loose skin. It's not going to do that. And the way it does it is there's something called collagen fibers, which are just under your skin, and collagen is what attaches your skin to your core, to your muscle core. They're fibers. So if you were to, suppose you were to have a chicken breast and you were to peel the skin off, those fibers that you see kind of underneath between the meat and the skin, those are collagen fibers. And what doctors have figured out that if you irritate collagen fibers, if you can create them to become irritated, red, swollen, and blood supply to come into it, what collagen does is it reacts by shortening. It shortens the fibers. So radio frequency at the certain temperature can cause this bleeding and this injury to the collagen fibers. And as a result of it, they shorten and tighten. Again, pain, swelling, time to heal, and it's definitely not permanent. I mean, not even close. Our procedure can create tightening because when we remove the fat, you know, our machine doesn't create any heat, but it helps to drain off the fat. And because like a balloon that's overinflated, you don't have to change the balloon. You just got to get rid of some of the air, and then the elasticity causes it to get smaller. So if you're not too old and your skin still has elasticity, the results of tightening are really dramatic, what we're doing. So, but that's True Sculpt. Okay, number 7, and this deserves a little more time to understand this. This is the EM Sculpt. This is electromagnetic muscle stimulation. So this is the BLS EM Sculpt Neo, and basically it is right now, it's a pretty popular procedure. I see it a lot. And what it does is it has these big round magnetic discs that are about the size of a large dinner plate, maybe a smaller one. And then what they do is they attach it, they lay it on your stomach and hold it on with a strap. And then electrical magnetic currents, magnetism is pulsed into the body, boom, 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 at different speeds and rates. And the energy causes the muscle to contract, like as if it was a stim unit. You know, we use electrical muscle stim to contract muscles when somebody has nerve damage. You know, if you went to a physical therapist and you had damage to your nerve and your muscle wasn't contracting, they can use a muscle stim unit. You put the pads on, turn it up, and it will cause the muscle to contract at the speed of the unit. Well, this EM Sculpt is using this magnetic energy to cause the muscle to contract without stimulating the nerve, without hitting the nerve supply. In other words, the whole muscle is just being, and as you could imagine, if it's too strong, it can hurt. I did it at a show. I wanted to feel what it was like. And I felt like I got kicked in the stomach when I got off, like I had done, you know, like I had a cramp. It wasn't like I worked out. It was like a cramp. And I don't know if it hurt me anywhere else. I didn't want to do it again. And it's something that maybe has merit for some people because, you know, I do a lot of body sculpting. And when I'm working on people and they come in and they're in their 60s, or not 60s, but 70s and 80s, maybe they've had multiple surgeries to their abdominal wall. Maybe they've had C-sections, you know, kidney removals, who knows, all the different cuts and scars. And their musculature has become flaccid, it's become weak. I thought it might be a way of helping to tone and to, you know, to strengthen the abdominal wall But if you don't do it all the time, it's stupid. You're going to need to do it again and again and again for it to work. And that's a heavy price to pay. It's expensive. And so you see people doing it that are like fit. Why would you do it when you can still do crunches? Because it's not permanent. And then what they're doing is they've also included an RF machine at the same time that they're doing the magnetic pulsing. And remember the RF. The RF uses radio frequency to heat up the fat. And so they're claiming fat loss and muscle toning at the same time. And they're saying there's a 20 to a 25% fat loss. Now, you cannot judge percentages without knowing the standard, like how big it is. 20% of something means nothing if you don't know the real number. It's misleading. And I've been doing this business a long time. I have very few people that show me these incredible results from the EM Sculpt. It's typically better for someone that's younger and is willing to exercise and be mindful of their calories. I think it has some merit there. EM Sculpt. All right, next one, number 8, liposonics. High intensity focused ultrasound. I went over ultrasound with the UltraShape Power. It's the same thing. It targets fat tissue. It uses ultrasound. It takes 12 to 18 weeks to heal. Not a great idea. Now you get into some other ones. One is number 9, is called VelaShape. And that's radio frequency and infrared technology. So they're combining the radio frequency, those hot energy waves, those radio waves that cross and create heat, with infrared. Now, what's interesting is my procedure uses infrared also. Not 100%, but somewhat. We use red light, which is a wavelength right before near infrared and then infrared. So infrared is a wavelength that you might get in one of these saunas. You go into a dry sauna, not a moist sauna, not a steam sauna, a dry heat. That's infrared. And it's known to penetrate fairly deep into the body. Now, they must be using quite a dosage in order to tighten skin. Oh, I see. So it's really just to tighten skin and reduce the appearance of cellulite. I don't know how effective that is. I can't really comment on that. All right. Now, there's something called Body FX, radio frequency and negative pressure. I don't know what they mean. I guess negative pressure is a bag they put around it that creates a negative pressure and it tightens skin and reduces cellulite. Nothing does very well, and I would beg to say that it's probably not very effective. Whoa, 11. Zerona, low-level laser therapy. Finally, what we're doing is on the list. Number 11. Description. Zerona, or my procedure, the Lapex, employs low-level laser therapy to create temporary pores in the fat cells, allowing the fat cells to release their contents. Non-invasive, no downtime. Multiple sessions are needed for noticeable results. I can tell you, if you're willing to work on your metabolism, exercise, eat the right food, cut out the empty calories, the sugars, and then your results on low-level laser will be better and more consistent. It still works, though, if your habits are terrible. Trust me. I've been doing this for 13 years, 6,000 people. And we get fantastic results. But the difference between somebody who's eating well and exercising and mindful of their calories is really a number of sessions. Our program is 9 sessions in 3 weeks. If you're somebody who is not willing to watch your calories as much because, you like your habits, and that's fine, it's going to take more sessions. That's it. I had a gentleman signed in Boca. I had an office in Boca. And, I went over the alcohol and he says, well, guess what? I'm not going to stop drinking alcohol. I said, all right. how much do you drink? That's my next question. He didn't appear to be a drunk or anything. He's a businessman. He says, well, I typically will do anywhere between 2 to 4 cocktails at night. And I'll have cocktails at lunch also. And he's doing like Manhattans, which is a pretty strong drink. And I told him, I said, it's not, I don't know I can't guarantee a result in 9 sessions. I said, but if you're willing to do more sessions, I think we can help you. And he's like, I'll do more sessions because I don't want to give up the alcohol. And I agreed. And we did a double plan. He paid for it and he got results. He got good results, but he didn't get them in that initial 9 as much as he would have after he did it a while. And, and that's just a fact truth. We have a lot of people. One of the reasons people do low level laser, what we do, is they like to drink alcohol. They enjoy it. They enjoy their friends and families, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yet, they pay the price because they get unusual weight gain. This procedure combats and offsets the empty calories that you're eating within reason. And I would say, and this is from my own experience, not something I read, that when a person first comes in, they really need to back off or be much more diligent about getting cutting out the empty calories, the sugars and the starches and the alcohol. And then once they get to a more fit body and their metabolism improves, which is what happens at the spa, they can start introducing more empty calories in the form of alcohol or sweets, as long as they continue getting laser treatment, because what happens is the laser treatment will offset the extra calories that the alcohol is putting on them. And that's, my God, that's incredible. And the other thing that laser can do, which is quite remarkable, it can allow you to spot fat reduce. So if you come in and you have wonderful breasts and you like the shape of your buttocks, yet you've got a belly fat that you don't like, if you do traditional weight loss and exercise, you're going to lose all those areas at the same time. Your butt, your boobs, everything's going to get smaller. What we can do at the spa is we can target just the abdomen and preserve the boobs and the butt because we're spot fat reducing just that one area. The other thing that happens with people when they are successful at losing weight is they become gaunt looking. They look like they're, they have no body fat, and their eyes sink back. Their face shows more wrinkles, and people are not happy with that. And one of the neat things about what we're doing is, again, we can target just the abdomen, just the arms, just the inner thighs without changing drastically these other areas. So you look better. And that's what we're doing. All right. I'm going to wrap this up. I hope you enjoyed hearing me talk about all these other procedures. I want to go over one more time what we're doing at the food drive. This is something which I'm excited about, and I want to help you. And so what I'm doing is we are melting away stubborn fat in exchange for canned food. I mean, that's what we're doing. If you, on September 25th, which is a Monday, through October 7th, if you contact us and donate 5 cans of food, you can be eligible for a consultation, an evaluation, a body fat check, nutritional recommendations, 1 laser lipo session to try it, as long as there's no contraindications, you're qualified, and you get 1 entry into the raffle to win a free $1,200 vibration plate. We have 3 of them we're giving away. So you don't have to be the one. You could be number 2, number 3, and get that vibration plate. This vibration plate retails for $1,200. It is critically important what I do at the office. You know, we do the laser and then people use the whole body vibration. It helps with circulation. It helps with muscle tone. It helps a person to burn calories. It helps break up the fat so it's absorbed easier. It helps with your balance. They're incredible. It also is an MP3 player, so you could listen to workout tapes on it. It will fit under your bed. You can pull it out. It weighs 33 pounds. It's not too heavy. And it's been my own brand for over 3 years. I happen to have some left over from the last order that I had. And I thought to myself, you know, let's get some people coming in here and make it sweet, make a nice offer. And let me tell you, the chance of winning a whole body vibration plate is huge. So that's what we're doing. We're melting away stubborn fat in exchange for a canned food drive. It begins Monday, September 25th. It ends October 7th. You get a consultation with a body fat analysis. Anyone who contributes 5 cans of food will receive a free consultation with a body fat analysis using my body analysis machine. It provides information about body composition, hydration levels, lean muscle mass, and the most important, resting caloric intake. How many calories you burn at rest. It includes nutritional consultation and recommendations. It also includes free a 1-year membership to Drtredtv. Right now it's free because it's just getting off the ground, but soon it will be a paid subscription and we will give you 1 year of this content that you can be able to get anytime. You also could qualify for a free laser lipo session. That's a $300 value in exchange for that food donation. Of course, you have to be qualified by me to do that. Anybody who was interested, has been sitting on the fence about coming in, there's some pretty sharp discounts on our laser lipo plans. As a result of your 5-can donation, you can receive discounts ranging from 10% to 30% off on any complete laser lipo plans if you choose to purchase. Number 6, we're offering a spouse discount. So maybe you're one of my clients, and we have a lot of people that watch this, or you're thinking of your spouse. Bring in your spouse and bring in 5 cans of food, each of you, and she can get one at a 50% discount on a laser lipo plan. We want to help the spouse. Okay. And that's whether you sign or not. That's huge. Never done that before. There's also a free drawing for one of the 3 Dr. Tred's whole body vibration plates. And we hope to bust through our goal of 400 pounds of canned food. We're in a food insecurity problem in the Treasure Coast. People are hungry, man. They really are. There's food lines. The pantries are empty. I saw it on TV. I've been there. Help us to help feed healthy people. My phone number, it's Dr. Tred Slim Body Laser Spa. Do Google drtred.com. Anywhere you put in the internet, Dr. Tred, you will see something that's linked to my phone, my emails. I'm not going to go through the process of giving you the number. I can't even remember what day it is sometimes. So why am I going to give you a phone number you're not going to remember? Tease you. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you soon. God bless. Namaste. Peace. Peace out. Have a fantastic day.